I mean, I get one body, why wouldn't I take care of it?
Right.
And I see the health consequences. So many people take health for granted. I see people that can't walk, that have cancer, that have all of these problems, and we forget how fast your life can change, you know? So like, why not invest in the most important thing in your life and truly take care of it? You know, it's just so, you know, people usually, you know, you don't realize how lucky you are that you can breathe, that you can see, that you can hear, that you can move. But I get reminded of that every day. So it's not only do I have to lead by example, but I'm always shown like how lucky I am.
What's up, my man?
What's up?
I'm really excited. I have my buddy here, Jonathan. He's doing amazing things. He's by profession, he's a chiropractor, but he's way more than that. And today I'm excited to share all that with you. How you been?
Really good, man.
Awesome.
Just working away and ready for this to open.
I know, this place it's changed since the last time we shot.
Yeah, with the framing going up, like every week, it's gonna be drastically different, and they're working around the clock. So
I'm excited. I've seen it like kind of
months
grow,
out.
man. I'm looking forward to this.
So you were here, what, 3 months ago?
I think so. Yeah, that's when we did the shoot.
Yeah. So it's time. October.
Totally. So I want to talk about. A lot of people don't know what a chiro actually does.
Okay.
You know, I feel like that knowledge hasn't really been spread. Like
Yeah.
I think they just think, oh, they crack your back, and
Yeah.
I think people are scared of that.
Yeah.
So what exactly does a chiro do? What are the benefits of going to a chiro?
Yeah. Chiropractic is commonly known just in general, for pain. A lot of people just associate, back problems or pain issues, but it's much more than that. In the state of California, I'm considered a primary care physician, so it's really just to treat. I can diagnose and treat anything,
Wow.
which is exciting. So like it's really taking a holistic approach, non-surgical, non-drug. So like my patients, their annual physical is a functional medicine panel. And what that entails is it's really giving me blood work that gives me a full blueprint of everything going on in the body. So I know how every organ's functioning, how every system's functioning, deficiencies, imbalances. And then what I do is create a holistic regimen, like lifestyle-wise and nutritionally, to counteract, just to bring your body to the right levels in the right state.
Got it.
And it's just amazing what you can do with that. If you have high cholesterol, let's make sure we're looking at your diet before I put you on a statin.
Right.
If you have pain, before we gave you something to numb it, let's make sure that everything's moving, and whatever's not moving, let's make sure we get it to move.
Totally.
Yeah. And then for me, what a lot of sports chiros do is they'll blend a little bit of physio, so that's like more muscle work, and then also some fascial work. So there's an old Chinese medicine technique called gua sha, and gua sha is just this fascial manipulation tool. And it helps just break up old scar tissue and adhesions.
Yeah.
So like my philosophy of what I do, and every chiropractor is slightly different, but my philosophy is, let's get the joint moving with an adjustment, and then let's get the muscles moving by releasing trigger points, and then let's get the fascia moving. So it's not just like one or the other. It's really a combination of all.
Yeah.
And a chiropractor typically just thinks, let's just adjust and that's enough. And a physio or a physical therapist is more of like, let's just take care of the muscles. And it's like the chicken or the egg, it's good to make sure that we're getting all three.
Totally.
And I think that's why I have so much success with pain patients.
And I like it's connected. Like you guys are talking to each other, right? I feel like sometimes like a doctor's like, oh, go check out your physio, or go to your chiro, or go to this. And the chiro has one plan for you, the physio has another plan, and then you have another plan. Your diet, like everyone is saying something different, and it's like, what's really going on? Like what's really happening? So
and I think it's cool too, is like I'll consult with my patients' trainers and make sure that their workouts are fixing their body and not breaking it.
Totally, yeah.
Or I'll consult with their medical doctor and I'll talk to them about the medications that they're on and what their plan is. So it's really just, building that health team, the people that like truly care. But a lot of the time, surgery and drugs are just commonly the first intervention. And it should never be the first intervention unless it's an emergency.
Right.
Because there's so many lifestyle things that happen and that we do, and we cause so many problems ourselves. But at the end of the day, like I can't make you healthy. I can help facilitate things and speed things up.
Of course.
But only you can make you healthy.
Totally.
So like the biggest job that I have is really education. I need to teach you. Like I can give you the solution and plan, but why am I giving that solution and plan? and then making sure that you know how to implement
and execute it out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think even more than all of that is that you actually practice what you preach.
Yeah.
And you have a process and you have something that you do daily. And I think honestly, you're probably the fittest doctor I know. So I think that goes to a lot. There's a lot like you actually not. It's one if you're telling like it's like some doctors like well I think one of my doctors he was like oh like let's say it's like don't smoke and outside he's smoking. But it's like what's
well,
going
it's interesting.
on here, right?
It's like you have to lead by example.
Totally.
You know, you can't say one thing to a patient, expect them to do it, but you can't do it. And then also, I mean, I get one body. Why wouldn't I take care of it?
Right.
And I see the health consequences. So many people take health for granted. I see people that can't walk, that have cancer, that have all of these problems, and we forget how fast your life can change. You know, so like, why not invest in the most important thing in your life and truly take care of it? You know, it's just so, you know, people usually, you know, you don't realize how lucky you are that you can breathe, that you can see, that you can hear, that you can move. But I get reminded of that every day. So it's not only do I have to lead by example, but I'm always shown like how lucky I am.
Totally. And I love that you're grateful for that. You're
Yeah.
grateful for like
You have to be.
Yeah.
You know, I try, part of my meditation and my reflection is saying what I'm grateful for, and health is always my number one. I'm so lucky that I wasn't born a certain way with a certain condition, or you know, having all my limbs, and that's, you know, it sounds so simple, but we're so lucky.
Yeah, like they just we're functioning the way we're functioning, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So I feel like we're at this point, and obviously we'll talk about Remedy Place because I know that's your baby right now. That's what you're really excited to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's go back and talk about, you know, where you came from, when you came to LA, when you're eating ramen noodles, like all that kind of stuff. Because I think that's really the story and the struggle, right? So like, what's up with that? How did you go from ramen noodles to being on Sunset?
Okay. So I moved out. I grew up in like the smallest town of the smallest state of Rhode Island. I always had the big dream of moving to LA, and never even visited LA before I moved here. But even when I was like 5 or 6, my mom would say like, you were saying that you were going to move to LA, or like, Mom, I want to move to LA, and she had no idea why.
Maybe some movie you watched.
I have no idea, but it was just, I don't know. And then as I grew, I always just knew like this bigger dream, and it just always was like so like deeply rooted that I was going to move out into a big city. So I took the opportunity when I came out for my doctorate for school to come out here, and I mean, I was going through chiropractic school. I had a full ride to my undergrad, but just for your doctorate, it's $200,000, you know, and you have still
costs
expenses.
a lot to serve people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like $200,000 at a 7% interest rate, and then you have to have food, and you have to. I have to work out, and I have to have gas to drive to school.
Totally.
And there's like those like pay the utilities, pay the rent. So in the beginning, I instantly had to have a job, so I was working between 20 and 40 hours a week throughout my whole entire schooling. So it was basically 40 hours of class, and then 20 to 40 hours tutoring. So I was teaching other students, and I did that throughout all of school. But that was the only way that I could even survive.
And let's take your mindset back, like back when that was happening. Like, what was your mindset? Was it like, oh man, like this is hard, or was it like, I'm in LA, I'm living my dream, like what, like, or was it both? Was it
so I was in the middle of nowhere, and I did not even know what LA, or I didn't even experience LA for the first 2 years.
Wow.
I legit was studying every single day, and it's intense. I mean, 40 hours of class, working full time, and then having to prepare for those tests, and it's year round.
Right.
There's no summers, so it's 2 semesters and then a whole summer course every year for 3 1/3. So you can do it in 4 years, or you just cut out this. If you add in the summers, you can finish it in 3 1/3.
Right.
So it's 10 semesters.
Right.
But yeah, man. I mean, I really didn't even know anything about over here. I was so determined, and I was working like any minute I wasn't working or in school, I was working on my business plan. My friends used to make fun of me. They're like, you have a couple hours free, why aren't you going out with us? And I'm like, I need to have my practice ready. I'm like, I've never started a company before. I don't know how to do this. So I worked on my business plan, and everyone would laugh at me. But the moment that, I started doing my rotations when I was finishing up school, I started a company doing concierge personal training, people that were leaving physical therapy that had to be we're kind of scared to be reintroduced into the gym, since it is a scary,
totally, yeah.
Scary
and they're
time.
not sure how to do it, and like say you work with the wrong muscle, or you just want to be smart about it.
Yeah, so it was like that, and then clinical nutrition, but it was a concierge service, and I did that. I had 3 clients at the time. That's physically all I could fit. And then when I graduated, I opened my practice. I transitioned my company to my practice. I added in the functional medicine, added in the whole what I call movement therapy with the chiropractic physio and some of the Graston or gua sha, whatever we want to call it. But yeah, so it was interesting. But I always knew what the bigger picture was, and I knew that I had to hustle. And it was tough because you finish school and you're like, all right, I'm waiting for my license to come through, finish my boards, and then you go to the bank and you're like, all right, here's my business plan, and they're like, no, you have all this debt from school. We're not giving you a loan.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I made enough to cover my overhead between rent, food, and travel, and just racked up all that debt. And I'm like, wait, so I don't want to go work for someone. I just worked my ass off to build this business plan. So it was funny. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to keep my practice as a concierge service. I'm not going to get a brick and mortar. And that's honestly why I started as this concierge doctor. Those clients turned to patients, and then I had a couple of big cases in the beginning, and then it kind of expanded from there. But it was interesting because I fell into it being, doing house calls or going on set or going to with an athlete.
Right.
But it ended up being a huge blessing in disguise. Was what I found out was like when people go to their doctor, they go in for therapy. They're tense, they're scared, they're uncomfortable. When you go to someone's home, that whole guard's down.
Totally.
They automatically, not only do they feel more comfortable, but they feel more comfortable with you because they already trust. If they're gonna let you into their home, they trust you. So the accidental finding of the whole practice early on was, wow, this has just brought it to a whole different level of care, because getting you to trust me is the hardest thing, and it's especially part of your recovery process. If you're tense and nervous and scared, your body's tense. So to get everything to move, it won't, or it won't as well, or as easy.
Yeah, but I love that. I find sometimes you go to school, you get a degree, you do all these things, and it's you would feel that there's a laid out path for you.
Yeah.
You have your chiro, you have to do this, you have to open a clinic, you get clients, blah blah blah. That's just the regular cycle of it. And it's not just for your profession; it's for a lot of professions.
Yeah.
But I love that. I guess you just had this vision of not following that pathway and kind of sticking to that. And even when you look at now, later on into Remedy Place, it's not.
Yeah.
It's that pattern has continued itself. And it's a pattern of you just being a visionary and just creating things that make you excited and make you happy. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's still so surreal. Every day I wake up, I'm like, or I drive by this and I'm like, how is this real?
Yeah.
And my family or my friends back home, they can't even fathom what this is or what is going on.
Yeah.
I had my parents here last month, and they walked in and they're like, whoa. They're like, we didn't know that they were expecting a closet, I think. They had no idea, me telling them, and they were excited. They're my biggest supporters, but they could not even understand it.
And I think that's why I wanted to get this on camera, because I've been telling a lot of people about your idea and concept, a lot of people in LA.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get it. I think they gotta see it, and then they're like, oh, I get I get what's going on. So that's exciting.
I mean, once I'm able to sit down, or once we actually start pushing the marketing or PR, and people can read about it and truly get what the vision or what the purpose of this is. But I think everyone's gonna find some use and benefit out of this place.
I think another cool thing that we spoke about during our day in the life was that these coffee dates that you used to have with people. So let's go through that, because I feel a part of this space and this creation was seeded probably from one of those days, or I'm sure that's helped inspire you. So
100%.
How does that what did you do, or why did you feel you did that?
I feel in the beginning, that first year of my practice, I have the coolest patients in the world. And at the end of the day, they're with your energy or whatever topic I was talking to them about or instructing them to do, they're always like, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so because you guys would get along. Or you need to talk to so-and-so because he's doing this and you guys might be able to complement each other. Or so on and so forth. And I was like, geez, I keep getting told to meet all these people. I'm like, all right, my New Year's resolution for my second year in practice, I'm like, every week I'm going to meet with one person. So it was just funny enough, I think it was all but a couple weeks throughout the whole entire year that I got to meet with somebody.
Someone new, someone not new.
Someone I've never met before, they didn't have to be in my industry, they didn't have to be in the same path. Sometimes it was just, hey, you guys are both super like passionate, or you guys would just vibe off each other.
Yeah, like your values align, and you guys,
And it would just be good for you guys to connect. And it was the best thing that I ever did.
So wasn't it like, because I feel like some people might be like, oh, that's kind of awkward. I don't want to meet new people that I don't know, and what are we going to talk about? How am I going to reach out to them? So like, did any of that occur to you, or how did you overcome that?
Every patient I took on was new. So, I mean, my interaction with new people and promoting myself and, growing my practice, it's important. And like life for me is just about connecting with people, and that connection is what the purpose of life is,
Love that.
So it was so amazing. And it got to a point, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna use my lunch break. It was every Friday. And after a couple, it was like 6 or 8 weeks, I'm like, holy shit. After every time I left, it wasn't that they said anything that like made me or like told me to do something.
Yeah.
It was more that they would be speaking about something and it would just spark something in my head. And I'm like, shit, I gotta go. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You can say what you want, man.
And I was like, I gotta go write this down. And then I would just be jotting down all this stuff. And then I just found out I was just so motivated and like hyped up that I could not go have patients after because I was not focused on them. And I'm like, all right, I have to do this at the end of the day or not work at the end of Fridays.
Right.
But it was amazing. And it just made me look at the world different, made me look at certain things different, or they just inspired me.
Yeah.
And it just shows how important it is to be around certain people, or like the people that you're around, making sure that they're the right people, because people are going to enhance you. Like, you can continue to work on yourself and like try to keep growing and reach your potential, or like there's no potential, like just keep growing.
Right.
But meeting people or having those connections can make you skyrocket quicker.
Totally.
And
they might just have that missing piece of the puzzle that you weren't even thinking about. They said it, and you're like, oh wow, like I could use that, or that'd be helpful. Or
the funny thing was, it wasn't even that. Most of the conversations, it was more inspirational or like just so empowering to be next to them.
Got it.
Versus them like saying like, John, with Remedy Place you should do this.
Yeah, nothing direct.
Yeah.
Just like through a conversation.
Yeah. And it was amazing, and I should continue to do that.
Totally. And I get what you're saying, just like being in the right environment and just having that energy. Because even when I do this day in the life, I spend a whole day with people I've never met. I know a little bit of the story, but I don't know really what they do with their process and all that kind of stuff. But like just being in their presence, like, oh, I learned this, or I could do this, or why am I not doing this? Like you just pick up on other people's behaviors and habits, and you try to see how you can plug it into your life.
Yeah, because it influences, right? It's like people influence each other in a good and bad way. Totally. Everyone can make you better and better and better. So why not do that?
Yeah, love that. Okay, so what is your vision like with Remedy Place? Like what is Remedy Place so like the audience understands?
Let me tell you the purpose, the reason why I created it first, and I'll tell you what Remedy Place is. Really, what I see right now in our whole healthcare system, people are fully dependent on their healthcare professionals and they're reactive. And I really feel as though they should be independent and proactive. And that's really where preventative care and taking care of your body is so important. But the only way that you can do that is through education. People don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to be healthy. They're misguided by things that they read online, by like the way certain food labels are labeled, or just what their friends are telling them. So there's so much, miscommunication on so many different levels that we just need people to know what to do. Or they're like, I don't want to be on that medication. I don't want to get surgery. But like, I don't know about anything. I don't know what I should be doing. What are my options? So, like how the whole medical system is, set up is, you go in there with your symptoms and they'll say like, all right, here, this medication will fix this. Or, you have this pain, like let's do some, some testing with some x-rays or whatever imaging they're going to use. And then they do surgery. And it's very rare like that people or these professionals will be like, all right, like let's make these interventions, but it's really because they don't have the time. Like if you work in a hospital setting, you're go, you're seeing 1 million patients, and you're working endless hours. It's hard. It's not that these people don't care; they 100% care, but they're just overworked. They're in this rush setting, and they don't have time to educate.
And they might have, the education that they received might have been like geared to a certain direction, and that's just the direction that they're following.
So I just think right now, the pharmaceutical companies have so much power, and they control so much. And big pharma and these pharmaceutical companies fund research. So what they're able to do is fund these research of the drugs and put out all these articles. But what we don't see is we don't see research on meditation or chiropractic or acupuncture or just certain alternative therapies that work. But who's going to fund them?
Right.
You're going to have these specific doctors fund their own research? No, they don't make enough money.
Yeah.
So there's no big company backing.
Yeah.
So there's two things that I really want to do with Remedy Place. If I can create Remedy Place to be the size of like an Amazon, and a company that has that big of a platform, that is the biggest voice that it can be.
Totally.
And it allows people to therefore get their options. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying like Eastern or Western medicine is correct. I'm saying it's good for you to know both sides,
totally.
And then to or hand in hand and work together.
Yeah.
So
and make an educated decision for yourself.
And education should cost nothing. Mm-hmm. Like if you have this huge platform, you could be putting out content, you could be putting out articles, and just to have that reliable source and that solution all the time, like that's the goal.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, that's the biggest thing that I see missing.
And I love that your goal is so aligned with serving and helping other people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people get caught up and they think this people that are super successful or they're doing big things.
Yeah.
It's always the intention is something that's negative. The intention is we want to make money or I want to be successful. And I think that gets shown a lot in media.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that I know, like yourself, it's no, the intention is I want to serve people, I want to make people's lives better, I want to do things for other people. And then this is just a result of that.
Well, the funny thing is think there's only so much, you see these huge companies, after making a certain amount of money, it's too much. People have tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, or these billionaires. You never can spend that. Even if you wanted to be, buying things every second of the day, why not put that money into research, especially for something that I know works, fund these chiropractic, acupuncture, whatever.
Totally.
And then put out all this research that we can. Or the only reason why these alternative medicine, therapies have even been booming over the past 5 years is social media. I was at this conference in Nashville a year ago, and he's like, the reason why people even know about meditation or anything now, or why all of our numbers are going up as far as the percentage of people that are actually coming in for treatments, is because YouTube, video, or Instagram, you can get millions of views and people are like, oh, what's that? Before you can't make a commercial or have a billboard because there's no money behind it.
No one would fund
so
it.
Yeah, exactly. So being able to fund things like that is amazing. Fund the right things and fund people should know more about that. Instead we have commercials about drugs or a billboard about this certain pill, and it's illegal in most countries to market a drug.
Yeah.
Why should someone be able to look at a drug or hear about it on a commercial, self-diagnose themselves, and then go tell their doctor what they should be taking? That's why a doctor goes to school for their 8 years so that they know how to diagnose and prescribe.
Right.
It's just a funny thing, and it's just this big misconception when you see this beautiful couple on a beach with a family, and the whole time it's you hear the whole background or the fine print, and it's you may die, commit suicide, or have it's so baffling. It's how can that be legal? And then how powerful would that be if that could be an educational thing that gave you a healthy tip?
Yeah.
Or was oh wow, you're suffering from this, have you thought about this that you're eating?
Or
try this out. That, there's no harm in that. There's only good.
Totally.
And that's where, more channels of education. But that's the thing that the vision of
Mm-hmm.
why the success and the expansion, the platform of this growing so much is that costs a lot of money. Creating a video costs, a simple video.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane how much it costs. So if you can publish research and then create a huge platform to put this all out, that's how you can leave your impact, and how I really feel that I can, at least change the healthcare system a little bit.
Totally, I love that. So as a partner in this whole process, because clearly you're a go-getter, you have a vision, you want to serve people. What are some of your fears, man? What are some of your fears with this? What are things that maybe keep you up at night, or you're thinking 3-4 times about? What are those?
Man, I don't know. I honestly, at the end of the night, the moment I lay down, I pass out. I'm so tired.
So that's the wrong time.
But I think my biggest worry about this is guess my biggest worry is if the purpose of this company is to outreach to as many people and educate people, my only worry is that it is expensive for certain alternative therapies and certain things that aren't covered under your insurance. So we only are able to really work with a certain demographic, which is sad. You know, like I think the end goal isn't to be like, oh, you can't afford to come in, so you can't come in. But that's why I think, at least on the educational side, if we can do free events, or like we have all these things we're planning on how we give back, and you know, whether it's donation wise or free services wise, we have thought about that, and we're talking with our PR team, like, what do you want to announce that you'll do? Is it like a quarterly thing? Is this an annual thing? Or like every 6 months? But the big thing is the cost, because I'll never forget, like, one of my patients early on, she had chronic pain for like 10 years of her life. Started working with her for a month, it disappeared. She was crying, bawling her eyes out, and she was just like, John, like, this just changed my life. Like, I've been living the past 10 years being told that this is something I have to live with my whole life. Wow. And she's like, luckily, I have the means to afford someone like you, but what does the average person do? And I'm like, I can't say her name, and I'm like, of course, yeah. in all honesty, I'm like, they'd probably be on pain meds for the rest of their life, and I'm just like, I remember driving home and being like, this is so fucked up. It is so messed up. It's like,
so what can people do? Let's say people they're suffering and they can't afford something. Like what else can they do, or what other things can they do so they don't get into that situation? Like what else is possible?
I think honestly, if you have pain, something's not moving. So learning how to get that part of the body moving, done. If you have a certain condition, it's autoimmune condition, depression, pain, I mean anything, look at what you're putting in your body. Because anything you put in your body is either going to be fueling and fighting disease. And that certain foods are expensive, and eating organic is expensive, but there's still all certain tricks. And make sure that you're not doing McDonald's or ramen like I used to. Like, not the McDonald's part, but the ramen. But it's just finding, like, all right, even if you can't, look at your range of what you can afford, and then making just smarter choices, like recovering with sleep. I mean, they're simple. Like, being healthy is about, like, go outside in nature. Seriously, it sounds crazy, but that is true. It's like the sun, the air, the ground. Like, there's a lot of healing benefits of that. If you're in pain, figure out how to move. If you're sick, let's look at your food. And then meditation costs nothing. Finding ways to clear your head, talk about setting goals, intentions, reflecting on what you're happy for, what you're grateful for.
Totally.
And when I volunteer in Peru, I go there, people don't have running water, they don't have a roof, they don't have electricity, and these are the happiest people I know. And I think, like, there's this big misconception that we want more and more and more, but the more simplistic life is, the happier you are. These people have never seen a doctor, they've never even had a health check, and they're just, like, so grateful and happy. And you might touch, like, I would touch their body and see what's going on, and be like, oh my god, I can't even imagine how much pain they're in.
Oh wow.
And then you talk to them and they're like, oh, I don't have any pain. And it's just this misconception where I think we're babied in a certain way. And, I think also, like, one of the biggest things that's wrong with our healthcare system is the amount that we diagnose people. And when you diagnose somebody, you instantly think that they're like, oh, I'm handicapped.
And now
like,
you self-diagnose yourself. You go on Google and you're like, oh, I have a headache. That must mean all these things.
And it's scary. And if you tell yourself, I have pain, or I have a headache, I have chronic back problems, or if you start instilling these things in your head, your body's smart. Like, there's a lot of power between what you think and what you say. And I think, I have patients that come in and they have, like, minor, like, at a very simple scale, like minor scoliosis, and they're like, I was told, I don't know how to tell you this, but I have scoliosis. I'm like, oh, okay, well, most people do, and like, I can't work out because of it. I'm like, who told you? Who told you that? I mean, that's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. But it's like little things like that, and I'm like, you ruin somebody's life by telling them that they were handicapped by that disease. Because no matter if you have the disease or not, you need to know what is your plan and what should you be doing. You can't sit there and be like, I can't do anything. I shouldn't be like, it doesn't matter. Or like, you have a patient have it in chemo and cancer, and then they go and they're smoking a cigarette or going and eating bowls of pasta and cheese and fast food, and I'm like, you realize what you're doing. It's like, if you're gonna do chemo or radiation, let's make sure that everything you're putting in your body can help keep your immune system like somewhat on level, or at least to be able to fight and not make you, deteriorate even faster. And it's just like, I know it's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I've learned so much, man. Just every time I hang out with you, you're always like teaching me new things. I'm always trying to implement them into my life. And the whole reason that I want to film all of this is because my whole vision, and I guess it really aligns with yours, and that's kind of why we connected, is that what do you think, if there's one thing that people could do, what do you think that one thing is to help evolve human connection?
Oh, wow. Honestly, turn off your phone. Turn off your phone, get away from any of the electronic, and then just go out on the beach, go out in the park, and just hang out. And don't, like, I feel like, I know this is like a stupid comparison, but I was at Coachella. I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I went there, and I've gone a couple of times in the past, and every single moment is like, it was just people taking photos, and there'd be hundreds of people doing the same photo. Or like you're listening to an artist, and everyone's phone's up, and they're not even looking at the concert, they're looking at their phone and recording it. Most of them would never watch that video again. Or people are like editing pictures while the performer's on. And I was just like, music is such a healing thing. And I'm like, the point of going to listen to music is to disconnect. And everyone's so connected to their technology that they just can't connect with anything else. And you see it, and like, people that, like, they're so socially awkward, and it's like when did you stop talking to people? Like, get your phone out of your hand. Or like when you see, like, you walk by a dinner table and the whole family's on their phone, I'm like, this is terrible. Like, my rule, like, I never take out my phone, like, in a meeting. Talk to people.
I love that.
It's like, it's so simple. This is the most valuable thing. Like, time is your most valuable thing, and you're gonna waste it staring at a screen. Like, you want to connect with people. That's what life's about.
I love that. So I hear you.
Stupid.
It's like,
I mean, I don't even know.
It's just like, it's like disconnect to connect. Like, really, like, disconnect from your phone, disconnect from those distractions. To actually connect with nature, yourself, other people. And
then it's just like, you hear people talk like, oh, like, go walk out in nature. Like, what the hell is he talking about? And this is fascinating podcast that I was listening to, and they were talking about how to rebuild the intestinal lining and your gut health and like the microbiome. And we always think like probiotics and eating certain foods, like, let's get the healthy bacteria in our intestines. And this study was so fascinating because it was saying that 80% of the actual bacteria in our gut, this healthy bacteria, is through what we breathe. So he's like, what you should be doing for your gut health is every time you're in a different place in the world, go outside, go near every new plant, go on a hike, be at different altitudes, be around plants that are at different height, like altitudes, because they give off different things. And it's he has this fascinating study, and I was like, holy shit. So wait, going outside and being out in nature near a tree is healing your intestinal lining. And it's things like that, like, all right, we used to make fun of, and like people used to laugh at like these hippies or these old healers, and they're like, go outside, go for a walk. And people I don't think they really fully understand it. Even I think until I heard that podcast, I was like, this is just on a whole different level, but we don't even look at it like that.
And it's like the universe that knows how to heal us. Like, our bodies are how many years old? Like 100,000 years old. It's like they know how to heal us. Like,
our
that's
bodies
how
are
we're
smart.
Designed. They're
it's
smart.
Like
and adaptable and flexible.
100%. It's like you have a cut, your body heals it.
Totally.
That's fascinating. Then it's like you have an infection, your body, or like a bacterial infection, your body gives you a temperature to kill the bacteria. It raises the temperature in your body to kill that so it can fight it. Instead, we give you a medication to bring your temperature down, and it's like, wait, your body's raising your temperature to fight that bacteria. So it's like, listen to the body, let the body do what it's supposed to do.
Got it.
And that's the whole point of Remedy Place. Like, Remedy Place is not making you healthy. Remedy Place is putting your body in the best state so that your body can heal itself. And that's what we're about.
I love that. So let me know, where can people find you? Like online, on Instagram, like where can they find you?
Yeah, so probably most active on Instagram. I know I just said disconnect from the internet and your phone.
But you use it for a good purpose.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like I was not a big fan of it, and when I started doing big corporate talks, these huge corporate companies were like, all right, what's your Instagram? And then when I started realizing that, I'm like, all right, this is the platform. And even back to that seminar that I went to a year ago, a little over a year ago, that was talking about the rise of alternative care because of social media and social platforms.
Yeah.
So it's powerful.
So Instagram
at Dr Jonathan Leary, and if you want to sign on to Remedy Place, remedyplace.com, you can follow and sign up for our newsletters, and eventually, as we continue to grow and we can afford to put out more content, we'll be putting stuff out and hopefully giving as much free content away as possible.
I love that. If you're ever in LA and you're on Sunset, make sure you check out my man John. He'll hook you guys up. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.